Good morning and welcome, maybe good afternoon, depending on where you live. This is a cybersecurity breakout session for our open house. We're just going to wait just a few minutes for people to come in, 1 minute. I'll watch that number tick up slowly, but we should have a good presentation for you today.
Again, Mike Morris. I'm with WGU. I've been here for 9 years. I've been in cybersecurity for almost 40 years. 25 of those were the FBI doing cybersecurity, computer forensics, and counter espionage investigations. After being in the FBI, I went on to Price Waterhouse. I was a director over global response, doing incident response. Did that for a couple of years. Got tired of being on the road for every week, and so went to work for one of my companies, one of my clients, as a CISO for a Fortune 500 energy company, and did that for a couple of years. And so we had the full breadth of, we sold energy, we manufactured energy, and it was a great career. Um, After that company, it came out of bankruptcy, and all senior leaders got their heads lopped off. And so then I came to WGU as a course instructor in the master's program. I did that for a couple of years, then became a program chair, meaning I was developing over one program. And after a couple of years of that, then I became an associate dean with multiple programs. So I'm responsible for an associate's degree that we have with the Navy, and a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. And we're going to talk today about the bachelor's and the master's degrees. So Jason, we'll go ahead and move on to the nice next one. One thing that's great about security, security, a lot of times when people think security, they're thinking of, like war games, or somebody sitting on a computer typing away, trying to hack this and hack that. Do we have that? Absolutely, we have that. That's pen testing, that's, security vulnerabilities, that kind of thing. However, security is so much broader than that. There's a field in security for almost anybody. You don't have to be a super coding ninja. If you want to code, that's great, but there's so many different parts to it. Making sure that the products are built securely, making sure that all the companies have the right processes, that people were being trained appropriately. A lot of times, people are the weakest link, in security. And so there's a lot of aspects there, and so it's just a really broad market. So one of the things I want to highlight for you is cyberseek.org. That's where the screenshot came from. So write your pen out and write cyberseek.org. That is a partnership between NICE, which is the National Initiative for Cyber Education, which is a subset of NIST, and they're also working with CompTIA and Lightcast. And this site is a great resource because right now we're looking at a heat map of the United States. You can see the jobs that are open by state. On the right-hand side, you can see cyber jobs that are open. On the left-hand side, you can see by type of job. And on the CyberSeek webpage, when you go there, you can actually drill down into each of those subsets to see what would a day-to-day look like for me? What are the job roles? What knowledge do I have to have? What skill sets do I have to have? And what would that look like? And so you can decide then if that's a role, in a job that you would like to do. So I highly recommend you go out to the cyberseek.org site on there. So when we're looking in there, so each of these different categories, these are high level, top of the stack that was worked through NICE. And so you can see oversight and governance, so when you think governance, you're talking leadership, management, that kind of thing. And I'm not going to walk through all of them because of time, but please take the time and go out and look at it. Go ahead, Jason. So, one of the partners we work with a lot is the DoD. Currently in our cybersecurity programs, we have about 40% of our students are from the DoD background. Either they are in the military currently, they are transitioning out of the military, their dependents, that kind of thing. And so because we do so much work with the military, that's one of the reasons why we had that AS degree with the Navy. We're a very military friendly organization. And, one of the things in working with the DoD, we're working with, we meet with them routinely throughout the year several times, and our last meeting with them, we're talking to them, and this is when we had all the jobs being halted. They had all the budget issues and everything last. And they're sitting right now 20 to 25,000 open positions that they're trying to hire. They're trying to find professionals, and these are well-paying jobs with great benefits, and they're out there. So I'm just putting that out there. Now you got to decide kind of really where do you fit in the puzzle? There's a lot of opportunities. You can go get, you could go get a certification. You could go get a micro credential. You could go get these various training opportunities at various companies and everything. But one of the things that recruiters are still heavily looking for in there is a degree. And a degree is forever. Certifications come and go, the skill sets come and go, but a degree you have in your pocket from now until the end, and so um, you really didn't have to look at what do you want that degree to be in, and so for BSCSIA, that's really designed for individuals coming into cybersecurity as a first career, or those who have been in cybersecurity and don't have a degree and they're trying to get to that next step. They're trying to become a manager and they need to have a degree to get there. And so the BSCSIA is, if you don't have a college degree, um, you know, that's a great way to get into cybersecurity, coming in through a BSCSIA program. Our master's degree is really set up for those individuals who already have a, undergrad degree and want to take the next step and move more into leadership. Go ahead, Jason. Sorry to slow you down. So you can see there from our program synopsis, as far as a couple different things in our bachelor's degree. Our bachelor's degree is NSA. We get accredited by NSA or designated by NSA. We're a center of academic excellence. And so what that means is that students can have more scholarships that are available to them. They have more internships that are available to them. They have more job pathways that are available to them by being a NSA CAE school. We're also ABET accredited on there, and I'll talk a little bit about that in just a minute. So when you look at some of the topics that we're covering, in our degrees, we do a broad spectrum. One of the things we intentionally did this year, or actually starting last year, and we continue to do in all of our courses, is bring more and more emphasis on AI on there. And so, AI is important. I was just brought back, was it Jason? I think in December. In December, I was invited to Yale to lead a panel on AI and dealing with conflict, and so I was there working, and my panel was the CISO from Anthropic. So those of you who are into AI, kind of know that company. But I mean that's the level of implementation and the level of depth we want to make sure we're bringing in, so that you're coming in knowing about AI. How do you use AI in a job? How do you secure AI? That's a big hole right now, is how do companies and organizations secure it? So we made a intentional emphasis there. Go ahead, Jason. So why don't you roll? Oh, okay. Um, so yeah, so as I mentioned before, the BA degree, our bachelor's degree, we have the NSA CIA accreditation, and then ABET. Recently, ABET, about 2 years ago, I guess it was approximately. ABET has always been there to designate a quality of engineering programs, and so if you have an engineering school, you would get ABET accredited, and then they open it up to computer science. And then, so if you had engineering or computer science program, you get ABET accredited, and that's an international accreditation. And they're looking at the quality of the program. Is it teaching everything that it should be teaching? Is it, does it have all the learning objectives? Does it have all the competencies, everything that it needs? And so recently they came up with cybersecurity in there underneath the computer science tower, if you will. And so we made the investment and made sure, and so we had all the inspectors come in and reviewed our program top to bottom, and we had our undergraduate degree, ABET accredited. Our master's program is built on aligned to CAE, and it's aligned to ABET, and it's aligned to the CISSP knowledge units or body of knowledge on there. Go ahead, Jason. So as far as our certifications, one thing that makes well, a couple of things that make WGU different than other universities. One, we're competency based. So what does that mean for you? If you already know something about cybersecurity, or you already know math, or you already know English, or you already know, this, that, one thing being competency based is when you come in the door, you have a term is for 90 days and, excuse me, 180 days. You have 6 months. And so you have 6 months and you have to complete at least 12 CUs in order to stay current in your program and stay enrolled in our school. After that, though, once you get done with that 12, 100, so be it. So as soon as you can show that you know the topic and pass the test, you can move on to the next course. And so we have about 10% of our program, between 8 and 10% of our program in our bachelor's course, where students are able to complete the entire degree in one term. So 8%, so those are usually individuals who've been in cybersecurity for a long time. They're coming in, they already have the knowledge and they're trying to get the degree. And so they're able to knock that out. But one of the things that we have in there that's important, the second thing, and sorry, Jason, the second thing that's important there is, unlike other schools, we provide certifications as part of the degree. And so when you walk out of WGU, you will have in the bachelor's program, you'll have 11 certifications in your pocket. We have a total of 16 listed there because when you get to 11, they kind of merge together and you get additional certifications through CompTIA. So that's why we have the 16 listed there. Go ahead, Jason. All right. The other thing that we built an unofficial bridge so that if you've passed some courses in the BSCSIA program, you get your degree. You then come into our master's program. We give you credit for 3 courses. So instead of having to have 10 courses to get your master's degree, you only have to have 7. So we try to make it so that an easier pathway for you, a quicker pathway for you to get your master's degree. And so right now we average a little bit over, we average about, I don't know, 33 to 35% of our bachelor students, or 33 to 35% of our master students are coming in and getting this benefit. So go ahead, Jason. So in a master's program, you can see here, you will, if you're coming in the door and you have not gone through our undergraduate program, you will earn then the certs you see on the screen there. We have 2 certs that are listed there that are optional, and that's the CISM as well as the Security X. And so what happens there is that you would pass our WGU test, and then after the completion of our WGU test, we provide you a voucher that's good for a year in order for you to go take the high stakes exam. So, those vouchers are not cheap. They say they'll save you, some of them are, $500, $600. So it saves you some money there. Go ahead, Jason. But they're important for your professional development. That's why we do it. I want to make sure at the end of the day, the whole goal here is to make sure you can better your life through either getting a promotion in your current job or landing a new job. So things we also do is we have clubs here that we've had them now for about 6 years in our cybersecurity programs. And the reason that's important, as you can see the size of how many students are in these things, it's important to get those hands-on keyboard skill set. And so weekly we have, hack the box, try hack me, and then the nice cyber challenges. And this is where students are working with other students and during these club meetings, and you're doing hands-on keyboard, building these skills in addition to what you're learning in the course, in addition to what the labs you're doing in the course. You're doing this in the cyber clubs, and you can put these things down. We also field teams into the National Cyber League, CCDC, and other capture the flag events. And we always, knock on wood, but we've always, landed in the, 10%, top 10% of schools, in leading these events. And so our students have been very successful there. All right. So as far as, keys to success, I'll tell you up front, this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. You got to be willing to put in the time. You can basically expect, need to put in at least 20 hours a week. So one of the things you're going to need to ask yourself is, how are you going to get that 20 hours? What are you going to give up, in your life to get that 20 hours to invest in education so that your future self will be very happy with you? And so, so once you figure out how you're going to do it, then you got to commit the time. One of the keys to success with us is, working heavily. You have a program mentor that'll be with you from the day you walk in the door to the day you walk across the stage. And they're there to help you with every facet of being in WGU. Then you'll have course instructors that'll be with you for each of your courses. And those are an unlimited resource. Sometimes we have individuals that know the topic and they don't need to talk to a course instructor. But then we have other individuals that this is the first time they've ever seen it. And they need to talk to a course instructor. You can make as many appointments with those course instructors. They have one-to-one sessions. They have one-to-many sessions. So they'll have weekly webinars. Think of it like going to a class. Then they'll also will have, these are recorded so you can watch them later on. Then we also have one-to-one, where you have one-on-one, help the whole time along there. So that's a great resource, a great way to learn. And we also have peer learning where you can work with other students, both not only in the clubs, but also on our community platforms out there. And last but not least, again, when you compare, being able to get a degree, certifications in there. Look at our tuition and compare it to some of the other universities you're looking at, and being able to do it at any time of the day. We service students all over the world for the military. So for every military base, we have people coming in from all the military bases across the globe, as well as ships. Then we have individuals inside the United States coming in from every state, all hours of the day. Whether you may work until midnight, come home, have dinner, and then work from, 2 to 4 in the morning on your coursework, and then go to bed and start the whole thing over again or something. But we have opportunities there for you every day. Go ahead, Jason. All right. Jason, why don't you go ahead and kick in on here?
Yeah, at this point, we're going to be wrapping up our presentation. So apologies again for the technology difficulties. Always fun, always things that you work through and then solve, and then you just roll with it. So generally, we have a bunch of questions that come up with this. I'm going to be dropping into the chat a couple of these links. So, questions about cybersecurity and what to do. So one of them is, well, what skills are required? This is a technology degree. And so I'll share that first link to say, this is kind of where it is and what it does. Mike's mentioned it explicitly. We have a lot of people with military experience or law enforcement, very friendly toward that group of people. And then there's always a question of, well, artificial intelligence, what's going to be happening? And so to answer these questions, I'm just going to be dropping in these links. And so I'll do that right now. And while we're still talking, please put any questions into the Q&A. I know we have a couple enrollment specialists that can help answer individual questions. So the next set of questions that usually comes is cybersecurity jobs. How do I get in? What do I do? And honestly, it's really hard to answer that question in like 30 seconds or 2 minutes of an open house. And so what we've done is we have a YouTube video that I'll also post that you can go and view. And this is going to be talking about one of our deans talking with various employers, saying, what can you do to get into the door, and kind of having an open, having some additional information in like a panel discussion. And so these questions, if you have, what can I do? I'd really point you to there. I'm going to be dropping that link right now. So, you came here for information. We will give you information. It's what the people want. And so, the biggest thing is like really do your homework on making that decision of where you come in at, right? For our programs in particular, if you're looking at a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, these are the short links to get there. So that's BS as in bachelor's degree, and then CSIA, cybersecurity and information assurance. And so this is the short link to where you can go and view what we've just talked about, look at the courses, look at the tuition, look at what your plan might be, and then you can click that little apply button that's basically everywhere on the website. And if you have more questions, and people will start start reaching out to you. We also have enrollment specialists in the room answering questions that you can look at. And so a lot of the questions are, how do I get in? We're going to point you to the enrollment advisor. But if you do have specific questions about cybersecurity and the degree, or maybe this bit, these are our email addresses that you can contact Mike or I, and we can give you a little bit of that information. And so with that, I'm just going to be scanning the chats for just a minute to see if there's any questions that have not been answered. The Q&A is very quiet at the moment. There's 0 in it. It looks like for our enrollment folks on the line, there is a question from Alexander. Mike, do you want to talk about our micro internships for just a moment?
About which one? I'm sorry.
Our virtual about the internships. The
internships. Yes. So we have a couple different ones. So we have one that's built into our courses through Forage, where you will go through and do a virtual internship, and that's built in. One of the things I didn't think I talked a little bit about was the WGU Achievement Wallet, and so it's an amazing tool to be able to capture all of your experiences, both earned at WGU as well as outside of WGU, to put all of your skills in one place and be able to custom fit different resumes. It allows you to search for jobs inside the wallet. It allows you to modify and your resume and be able to apply for jobs. And so, but it's a one-stop shop to be able to capture all of your skills. Now, as far as our apprenticeships, I mentioned I have one in the program, one in a course, but then we also do through Ripen. We have quarterly, we're running running internships, and they're non-paid. They're 8 weeks, but you're hands-on keyboard, you're working for a company, you're building that experience, and those are key differentiators for getting a job.
Excellent, thank you. I'm just going to tie up this question, Mike, and then I think we've answered the ones in the chat. So if you want to just give your last parting advice to this group of students.
First of all, thank you very much for your time. The technical snafu that happened there, but thank you for your time. You have our email addresses. If you have questions that you can't get answered from looking at anything, please feel free to reach out. I've been doing this a long time. My role here is to, again, help you, get a college degree to help you better your life. So, again, thank you for your time, and have a wonderful day.
All right. And again, so just shutting down here, we thank you for your time. Thank you for your hour with us. Again, lots of people are available to answer your questions. Email us or an enrollment counselor. Also, go ahead and view our 2 pages, BSCSIA and MSCSIA, and then in the chats for other questions like these, we've provided the resources, and then this should be emailed out to you within the next few days. So thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it, and have a great day.